Hello people of the YouTubes. The AliExpress cooler has arrived. This is a VTG 512D, which is a cooler off AliExpress, obviously. And it was, I think, £22 or £23 shipped from China. And I ordered it maybe, I don't actually know, maybe only a week or two ago, and it has arrived already. So we're going to do an unboxing and the performance. Now you can see how it's packaged here. It's just got an extra fan on the outside by the looks of it, 'cause it is a 2-fan cooler, as you can see on the side here. It says something about 130 watts and the rest of it's in Chinese. Let's see if I can get that actually in focus here. There we go. It says something about 130 watts. It's supposed to come with 220mm fans. It's supposed to be a dual tower cooler. So we'll have a go at opening it here. We'll open this extra fan first. Now this is similarly priced, something like a Hyper 212 Evo, and it's supposed to fit 1155 socket, I think. Yep, there we go. Either the 1150X or the 2011 sockets. So you can see there, it's all in Chinesium, so we can't read it. The product specifications for the fan, though, are actually in English as well as Chinese there. So we have got some specifications, and the flow rate on the fan is pretty terrible, but it should be fairly quiet, hopefully. So we'll have a look at this fan first before we get the cooler out. Why not? It's nice and easy. Let's see what it comes with here. If we can get it out of the box. Nothing else in there. No. Right, that's good. So the fan feels, it's pretty decent actually. It's not the cheapest fan I've ever felt. It's got rubber bits on the corners here. It is 120mm as specified, hopefully. If we get a tape measure from somewhere around here. There we go. Let's get a tape measure out here. So, yep, it is 120mm as you can see there. So that is good. It is supposed to be LED as well. I think it lights up blue. So let's unbox the actual cooler now. Actually, it's got a 3-pin connector there and a Molex there, which is going to look fairly ugly, but at least it's got black wires, not ketchup and mustard. Interestingly, on the back of the fan it says it's 2.4 watts, even though on the box for the fan it said it was 3 watts. So good maths there. Alright, let's open this. It's not even sealed with a bit of tapey stuff, so we'll see what it's like in here. Oh, there it is, all in one. There's a bit of foam in the bottom of there, as you can see, just so the cold plate doesn't get bashed around in shipping. It's got some little dots for the heat pipes to go in, which is pretty nice, and I guess the mounting hardware is in this little white box there. Let's have a look at the heatsink here. So it's got 5 heat pipes. They are 6mm heat pipes, so they are the thinner type, not the thicker 8mm heat pipes which you get on some coolers. So let me see. So the actual heatsink itself doesn't look to be exactly 120mm wide. Where did I put the tape measure? So let's have a look here. Yeah, it's about 11.5cm wide for the actual heatsink, if the thing would focus on it. There we go. And height wise on the fins you have got about 10cm. So obviously the fan sticks out the bottom here, so it will blow some air over the VRM and memory, which is I suppose quite a good thing. But it means the heatsink surface area isn't as big as you'd want. It's also got cutouts that go all the way through from the top to the bottom in each corner. The fins are fairly thin and they are quite loose there. You can see they haven't been soldered on or anything. It just looks like they are just sort of pressed on rather than soldered on, which is a little bit shoddy, but again, this fan, or heatsink rather, was £22, so what can we expect of it? Not really much more. So this one is actually a PWM fan. I don't know if you can see there, that is a 4-pin fan header. So that's interesting that this one's PWM and the other one isn't. It's also got some plastic over the heat pipes here, and we can see the surface finish is pretty good. It's not completely flat, there are still some little ridges in between the heat pipes and the aluminium plate, but it isn't too bad other than that. It's also got some like fin things on top of here, which I'm sure do nothing, and they are direct contact heat pipes as well, which is quite nice. We'll see how good the cooler performs later on. So in this little box here, which I'm guessing is the accessories like the mounting hardware and such. Fan clips, extra fan clips for the other fan. We have got a PWM splitter, a back plate, some little mounting brackets here for Intel, and some destructions which I'm sure will be in Chinese. There's actually nothing else in that little box there, so we'll have a look at these. So let's have a look at the destructions first. And it looks like it's all going to be in letters, which is nice. And they're not Chinese letters, they are English letters or normal alphabet. Don't really know what you call them. So it comes with 4 of some different types of screws. It apparently comes with thermal paste. Oh yeah, it does come with a little tube of thermal paste, that's pretty nice. And it looks like you mount the brackets to the bottom of the cooler and then put some thermal paste on your CPU. And yes, it tells you the different mounting holes for the different sockets. Now these, it's saying for 2011, will probably work for 1366 as well, I'm guessing. It only has 2 mounting holes, so it doesn't have a place for 775, although if you filed or dremeled a little bit extra on the end of there with maybe a drill or a Dremel, you'll probably be able to mount this cooler to 775. And then it looks like the 4 cut-out holes in the top of the heatsink I showed you earlier, these holes here, you're supposed to put your screwdriver down through there to tighten the cooler onto the back plate. So that kind of works like this this cooler here actually in the background, which you can see. This is a Thermalright HR2, so you put your screwdriver through that hole there to get to one of the screws on that cooler, so this is kind of similar in that regard. And then you put your back plate on afterwards. Apparently that's kind of a weird way of doing it, but I suppose whatever floats your boat. The instructions are quite simple really, which is nice. The back plate is definitely made of plastic. It's quite bendable, but it doesn't really matter as long as it works okay. Now, this back plate here looks like it will only fit 1155, so I'm guessing if you wanted to do 775 you wouldn't have a back plate for it, which is kind of annoying. And obviously for 2011 you don't need a back plate, because usually the board has the back plate on it already, and the these things, the fan clips, were twisted up there. So yeah, we'll try and mount that fan in a minute. Have a look at this thermal paste. Now, it's just some non-brand thermal paste, obviously. I'm not sure how it'll perform. We'll probably use it actually and see how it performs compared to some PK0 or Thermal Grizzly or something. You do get a PWM fan splitter, which has some pretty shoddy heat shrink round it, which hasn't been shrunk by the looks of it, and you've got your ketchup and mustard cables, and obviously it's a 4-pin connection at that end and 2 4-pin connections at this end, so that's nice for them to include that. So you don't have to use 2 headers on your motherboard. These bits of metal for the mounting downy bit, they're pretty thick actually. I expected them to be thinner and more bendier, but no, they're actually pretty thick. They're probably cast. Yeah, very nice. And then you've got your bag with all your little screws in. So we'll see how easy it is to mount next, I guess. But yeah, that was the unboxing done. And my desk's now kind of a mess, but whatever.